Yeah, hi all. Today we'll discuss one of the architectures which will be defined like three layer of architectures in backend, how we will communicate and use the AWS, and if client is sending any request, then how this request will go for this multiple microservices and multiple technology. Like, so suppose client will have either any of, maybe client they are sending a request through this maybe this mobile, tablet, laptop, desktop, and anything or anyway. So client device will be sending the request, and after that how our applications will behave. So client, whatever the request is coming from the client, it will go for the AWS. Why we are using backend with AWS? So the request will come in our AWS ELB. ELB is a elastic load balanced. So as per the request from sending the client, that will be captured from the AWS ELB, elastic load balanced, and after that they will send the whatever the request will happen. They will directly, it will send to the API gateway. So API gateway is an application programming interface gateway service, which will be will take the request from the load balances, and then it will go for the particular microservices. So they will check as per the request, whatever the client has sent is the request from related from which microservices. Suppose if your application behave of three microservices in that: sign up API, discovery API, and play API, related for any games and all. So the API gateway will check either this request is coming from the client is either sign up, discovery, or play API. So this is the application API where it will go and check through the API gateway, and based on that it will go for the particular microservices. So we have a sequence for 1, 2, 3, 4. So the 4 it will go for the microservices. We have respective microservices will be there, and in that the fourth microservices will have. So some of the microservices we are using cache. So that's cache, either Redis caches or any other cache you can use. So if you are trying to do some caches implementations and all, then it will go for the cache element. So that is a different thing from this step 4 to 5. And after that, if you have some stream processing pipeline will be there for the some microservices, then what will happen in that case, it will go for the stream pipeline processing. There we have a either AWS S3 or Hadoop or any other stream, maybe Kafka and others. And if you have a microservices to direct communicate and store the data, or maybe the users is sending to the detail from the microservices, then directly it will be communicate with data stores, and where they will fetch the detail and they will request back to the data store to microservice will send to the API gateway through the CLB, and then users will get the response. So like that we have architectures which will be defined from this either client to server in backend. So how these things will be communicated from one to another. So these all are the way where we are using AWS. So what are the services I used in AWS? Elastic load balanced, AWS S3 here I used, and others. If you are using AWS gateways, that you can also implement here. And then we have a cache. If you want, you can use the caches also. Data stores for the data we can use in AWS, and for the deployments and all the backend applications we can use the AWS. So this is a simple API communications for how the request is sending to the client, and then how they will get a response. So what are the ways and what are the services will be processed internally, like cache, data store, streaming pipelines and all. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, thank you.